Personally, the question I've been asking myself lately as a man, you know, I'm in my own personal philosophical times, is can people truly suppress the truth? Or does the truth have a history of getting out? I really just don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Well, I mean, that's a head full, to be honest with you. Yeah, I do believe the truth can be suppressed. And I think, like, the question here is it, how manipulated is it?
What I find interesting, I think I had a little bit too much faith in humanity because from what I've taken so far now in the United States is nobody really cares about the anymore.
I haven't heard, COVID, Corona, anything in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Not one mention of it. Now, I'll stay away from news and all that. But like even with flipping through, now you still see it being pushed by the big corporations on their TV, on their commercials. But that's about, you don't hear mention of it about from lawmakers, from the medical profession. My mom was in a hospital a few weeks ago. Like I went into the hospital, no mask, no nothing like that. And I asked the nurse that was taking care of her, did they have any patients here? No, we haven't had that in a while. No, there's no mention of that whatsoever.
Does the mainstream media in the United States or wherever country you are they talking about the on the news? But yeah, nobody seems to. I mean, what happened to 1 million people are going to die? The hospital beds are going to run over. We need ventilators. What happened to all that?
Gone.
It just disappeared like this. I think people that are intelligent and, you know, red pill and looking at this situation with a red pill lens, they know it's not about racism. This is about police brutality because it doesn't matter what color your skin is. Police treat people like in the United States. I've had a gun put in my face. I'm pretty sure you've been roughed up by the police. Every man, every color, every race, everybody hates the police because the United States police officers are the most abusive police force in the entire world. I don't like these police officers who abuse their power, and the majority of them are bad cops. I mean, they have documentation on this as well. The majority of cops in America have personality disorders as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree somewhat. I don't think I agree with the majority of it, but there's an overwhelming number of cops who abuse power regularly. And yeah, I've had my ass kicked by the police a few times. I wasn't exactly cooperating, but I've seen it in other cases where it was just blatant abuse power and no need to explain themselves. Or what I found is a lot of cops that I knew younger that turned into cops weren't like some socially adept, athletic, guy who had success with women and friends. And it was usually the quiet or the nerdy guy who got picked on. And sometimes they carry that chip on his shoulder into when they get that sense of power. It's over with. They got a crew behind them. They got some training on how to be physical in command situations. And then any trouble they get in, they're never alone.
Yeah. And then Angelo says what I completely agree. He says, I'm Puerto Rican and was harassed by a Puerto Rican cop a few weeks ago. He was a pussy hiding behind a badge and backup. Yeah, but a lot of these guys, they're not real men. They wouldn't square up with you one-on-one. They hide behind the badge and the authority that they have through the state. And I don't agree with consistent history of police brutality in the United States of America. And I don't care what anybody says. There's been a consistent history of police brutality. I've seen it in the nightclubs, okay? Because what a lot of cops do is they get like after hours hiring by nightclubs and stuff like that. I have seen police officers, right? This guy, his name was Officer Roman in the Orlando, I think it was Orlando Police Department. This guy, I saw him beat the living out of a drunk guy in his 20s, bloody the guy up, and then throw him in the police car, and nothing was warranted from that situation. And the thing about the police that's just so corrupt is they do their own internal investigations. So it's like, me and you are business partners, and like you rob somebody, and then I'm like, all right, listen, I know Joe robbed you. I'll go discipline Joe. Thank you for your cooperation. And then I go behind the scenes like, Joe, just be smarter when you rob these people next time. That's exactly how the police work. You guys got to realize this about racism. It's always been here and it's always going to be here. And that is uncomfortable truth. But America is not the only racist nation. Okay, I met a guy named Sasa from Nigeria. And I said, Sasa, are you from Uganda? And dude, this guy's like a sweet Christian man. This guy, he was like, don't you ever call me one of those Ugandan scumbags. I'm from Nigeria. I am Nigerian, and I'm very proud to be Nigerian. I was like, yo, dude, my bad, bro. I thought, everybody was singing Kumbaya and holding hands in Africa, and everybody loved everybody. But that's the same thing. In India, there's a caste system. In China hates Japan. Japan hates China. Korea hates everyone. Like, racism is everywhere, and every race believes themselves to be superior. It's just period. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. But what this is, it's a mass media manipulation to get people upset, and it's working. It's really working. It's just so I just believe it's just hilarious, honestly, looking at all these people getting upset.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's working really well. They have people that really fall for that shit. And I worked with a guy for years from Uganda. He came here in his early 20s. He's like 40 now. So he's not like a guy who came here as a little kid and has been like totally Americanized. The racism in Africa, you know, among that race, like they literally hate each other. They have villages still to this day that'll go in and kill people in other villages and over that. And he's from Uganda, and they despise Kenyans and Nigerians.
Yep. But guys, you have to remember, the media does not give a about you. The government, the media, they don't give a shit about you. You could fucking get your brains blown out right now. Anderson Cooper, all these fucking people on CNN, they don't give a about you. They don't care one bit. It doesn't matter if you're black. It doesn't matter if you're white. They don't give a But what they do want to do is separate people and cause division. That's what this is all about. And them trying to make it a race thing, the reality is it's a police brutality thing. It's not a race thing.
And here's the thing. The media wants your money. The government wants to control you. And so they work together. It's a good relationship for both of them. They want control. They want the money so they can use the media to get to control, and the media uses them to get the money from us. So and what is the easiest way to control people? Keep them separate. Keep them hating each other so where you don't even have to do that. You don't. The only thing you're really doing at that point is damage control, making sure the population doesn't completely wipe itself out, and you just let them fight. You know, while you do whatever the f is you got to do, and the media can put on their, you know, like their cause, and like these huge corporations that put out these commercials. Like really, like come on, like the CEO of Johnson & Johnson's sitting at home thinking, what can I do to help people who've been affected by this? No, that mother on his yacht somewhere in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, you know, checking his numbers on the stock exchange. And yeah, don't ever think for 1 minute that this government or the media has your best interest even remotely in mind. It's all an agenda.
The reality is this, for all you men out there listening, nobody cares about you at all. Men are a forgotten class. Most people don't give a fuck about you. Nobody's coming to save you. And quite honestly, if they don't fucking, I mean, you could go off and die tomorrow. Like, men are killing themselves at alarming rates. Where's the hashtag men's lives matter? Where's the hashtag believe all men?
Don't wait for that shit.
Nobody cares, guys. And it may sound like disparaging or whatever, but the reality is this. Bro, these people do not care whatsoever about you. And again, it doesn't need to be a doom and gloom message. What it should be is a wake-up call and an empowerment message for you to get out there and be a competent man. Know how to physically take care of your body. Know how to make money on your own so you don't have to rely on a corporation or government to give you a handout. Know how to go, like, even if it's simple things, know how to fish, know how to cut a fish open, gut it, and cook it correctly. Know how to hunt, okay? Know how to fight. It's little things like that. Let me tell you something. If it gets to the point where there's mobs and shit going around in America, you better know how to load a gun and unload a gun and how to shoot pretty well. Because all this virtue signaling, like, I don't need a gun, I trust the state, they'll come protect me. Yeah, right.
Notice where all the crime and rioting and looting is rampant in all these blue states with very stringent gun laws. You come pull that bull down here.
You know it. Listen, bro, I've been saying that in my private circles. I'm glad you brought that up. Look at every single state that the looting and rioting is terrible in. Every single one. Heavily Democratic area. Portland, Southern California, New York City. You see any massive riots in Texas? You see any massive riots in Florida? I didn't see any before. You know, Florida's a stand your ground state. You know that, right? So if somebody comes at you, you don't need to run. And if somebody's committing a felony in Florida and you have your concealed weapons permit, you're allowed to use your gun to stop them. This is not legal advice, obviously, but yeah, you see any any riots in Wyoming, Montana? It's all these states that are run by Democratic areas.